Hey, you're joining Chris and Cassie here for another deep dive.
Hi, everyone.
We take a fascinating source, and today it's a really powerful speech, and we try to pull out the crucial insights just for you.
That's right. We're looking, beyond just the surface of these well-known stories, trying to find the underlying principles, maybe some connections you can actually use in how you think about your own life and work.
Exactly. And today we're unpacking 3 really key stories from Steve Jobs. They're drawn from the Motivation Arc YouTube channel's video. It's called One of the Greatest Speeches Ever, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, it's a famous one. A lot of people might have heard it.
Right, but we're aiming to go a bit deeper, maybe extract some aha moments that you might have missed the first time around.
Our mission here is really to show that these aren't just interesting biographical tidbits. They hold some really profound lessons, things that can resonate no matter what challenges or, opportunities you're navigating right now.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The first story, Jobs calls it connecting the dots. It kicks off with his pretty unexpected decision to drop out of Reed College. He was only there 6 months.
Right, but then he didn't just leave entirely, did he? He sort of stuck around as a drop-in for another 1.5 years.
Yeah, exactly, which is fascinating. So what's the backstory there? Why drop out in the first place?
Well, it's quite a start to his life, actually. His biological mother, she was a young, unwed graduate student, and she really wanted him adopted by college graduates. That was the deal.
Okay.
So arrangements were made, but literally at the last minute, the couple backed out. They decided they wanted a girl.
Wow.
So his parents, Steve's adoptive parents, they were on a waiting list. They get this call late at night. We have an unexpected baby boy. They weren't college graduates, actually, but they said yes immediately. His biological mother, though, she only agreed to sign the final papers after they really promised that he would go to college someday.
Right. So cut to 17 years later, and there he is at Reed, which, as he pointed out, was super expensive, like almost Stanford level expensive.
Yeah, and all his parents' savings, his working class parents, were going into this tuition.
And after just 6 months, he said he just couldn't see the value. He had no idea what he wanted to do with his life.
Right.
And couldn't see how this really expensive education was going to help him figure it out. It must have been terrifying, though, to make that call.
Oh, absolutely. It took real courage. It wasn't just flaking out. It came from questioning its relevance, and worrying about his parents' finances.
But what's key, like you said, is he didn't just walk away.
Exactly. He chose a different path. He stayed on as a drop-in, which meant, no dorm room.
Right, sleeping on floors in friends' rooms. He talked about returning Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposit, just to buy food.
And walking, 7 miles across town every Sunday, just to get one decent meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple.
Yeah. It sounds tough, but it also gave him this freedom, right? To explore things that genuinely interested him without the pressure of required courses.
And that's where the calligraphy class comes in. Because he wasn't tied to a major or requirements, he just dropped into this class purely out of curiosity.
What did he even learn there? Sounds a bit random.
Well, he learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the space between letter combinations, kerning, the whole artistry of typography. He found it beautiful, historical, artistically subtle, in a way science couldn't capture.
Okay, so interesting hobby, but how does that connect?
Well, here's the amazing part. 10 years later, fast forward 10 years, they're designing the very first Macintosh computer.
Right.
And all that seemingly useless knowledge, it came flooding back. He said they designed it right into the Mac.
So that's why it looked different.
Exactly. It was the first computer with beautiful typography, multiple typefaces, proportionally spaced fonts. It was a big deal aesthetically.
Wow. And he actually thought if he hadn't dropped in on that specific class,
the Mac might never have had that. And since Windows basically copied the Mac, he speculated that perhaps no personal computer would have had it. The whole look of PCs could be different.
That's kind of mind-blowing. A calligraphy class influencing all of computing.
It really shows. Well, it leads right into his main point for this story. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward.
So you just have to trust that somehow the dots will connect in your future.
Yeah, you have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever you want to call it. He believed this approach never let him down, and it made all the difference.
Believing the dots will connect gives you the confidence, maybe, to follow your heart. even if it leads you off the well-worn path.
Precisely. That trust is what gives you the courage. It frees you up to pursue things just because they interest you, even if they don't have an immediate payoff.
Yeah, okay, that's a powerful idea. Let's move to the second story. This one he called Love and Loss.
Right, and this starts on a high note. He talks about being lucky, finding what he loved to do early on, co-founding Apple in his parents' garage. He was only 20.
And the growth was just astronomical, wasn't it? From two guys in a garage to, what, a $2 billion company?
Yeah, with over 4,000 employees, all in just 10 years. They just released the Macintosh, which he called their finest creation. He'd just turned 30. Things looked amazing.
And then, bang, he gets fired from the company he started.
It's almost unbelievable. As Apple grew, they decided to bring in someone else to help run the company. Someone Jobs initially thought was very talented.
Okay.
And for the first year or so, things went okay. But then their visions for the future started to diverge pretty significantly. They had a falling out.
On the board sided with the other guy.
Yep, the board sided with him. So at 30, Steve Jobs was out. And it wasn't quiet. It was very public, painful.
He said it was devastating. The focus of his entire adult life was just gone.
He felt like he'd failed everyone, let down the previous generation of entrepreneurs. He even mentioned meeting with David Packard and Bob Noyce to apologize for, like, screwing up so badly.
He felt like a public failure. Said he even thought about running away from Silicon Valley.
But then, slowly, something began to dawn on him. He realized he still loved what he did.
Oh. The circumstances changed, but the passion hadn't.
Exactly. The work itself, the innovation, the creation, he still loved it. So he decided he had to start over.
And looking back, he actually said getting fired was maybe the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, sounds crazy, right? But he felt the heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. Less certain, maybe, but freer.
And that led to a really creative period.
Hugely creative. In the next 5 years, he starts NextT, another computer company, and also starts Pixar.
The Pixar. Toy Story Pixar.
The very same. He also fell in love, got married, started his family during this time. Pixar, of course, went on to make the world's first computer animated feature, Toy Story, and became this incredibly successful studio.
And then there's that remarkable turn of events.
Right. Apple ends up buying NextT, which brought Jobs back to Apple.
And the technology they developed at NextT became the core of Apple's big comeback, didn't it?
It was instrumental in Apple's resurgence. So none of it, Pixar's success, his return to Apple, even his family life unfolding as it did, he felt none of it would have happened if he hadn't been fired.
He called it awful tasting medicine, but maybe the patient needed it.
That's exactly his analogy. So the message here is really about, well, resilience, but also about the power of loving what you do.
Life hits you hard sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Hits you over the head with a brick, as he put it.
Yeah. But don't lose faith. He was convinced the only thing that kept him going was that he loved what he did.
So that's the advice. Find what you love. For work, too.
Absolutely. He stressed that your work is going to fill a huge part of your life. The only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work.
And the only way to do great work
is to love what you do.
So if you haven't found it yet,
keep looking. Don't settle. He says, just like with matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better over the years.
Keep looking. Don't settle.
Yeah.
Powerful advice.
Definitely.
Okay, let's get to the third story. This one focuses on death. A heavy topic, maybe, but he uses it in a really insightful way.
Yeah, he starts by recalling a quote he read when he was 17, something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right."
And that stuck with him.
For 33 years, he said, every morning he'd look in the mirror and ask himself that question. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
And if the answer was no, too many days in a row,
he knew he needed to change something.
So thinking about death wasn't morbid for him. It was a tool.
Exactly. The most important tool, he called it, for making the big choices in life. Because, he argued, remembering you're going to die helps you realize that almost everything else just falls away.
What kind of things?
All the external expectations, all the pride, all the fear of embarrassment or failure. In the face of death, none of that matters. Only what is truly important remains.
It's a way to cut through the noise.
A very direct way. He said, remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart.
You are already naked. That's stark.
It is. And he didn't shy away from it. He called death very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent.
How so?
It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, he said to the graduates he was speaking to, you are the new. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, he added, but it's quite true.
So the takeaway is, don't waste the time you have.
Pretty much. Your time is limited. So don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't get trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking.
Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice.
Yes. And most important, he urged, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition.
Because somehow they already know.
They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
And that leads right into his famous sign-off.
Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
A call to keep learning, keep pushing boundaries.
Yeah. Embrace lifelong learning. Stay curious. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo or look silly trying something new.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Steve Jobs' 3 stories, well, I hope you found some valuable perspectives here.
Yeah, we've touched on, the surprising power of connecting those dots from your past.
Finding strength and loving what you do, even through major setbacks.
And maybe gaining some clarity by reflecting on mortality.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. How might thinking about these 3 stories, how might that shape how you look at your own challenges right now?
Yeah.
Or your goals for the future?
What dots from your past might actually hold some surprising significance down the road?
And maybe most importantly, what is it that you truly love to do?
Good questions to ponder.
Definitely.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real talk on hot, viral topics. Tell us what topic you want us to deep dive on in the comments section. See you in our next podcast. Bye, everyone. God bless.